Hello and welcome to the Marty and Tavi show. And yeah, it's just Tavi. Hopefully Marty will join us. I have a pretty heavy topic tonight, so hopefully she joins us. If she doesn't, I'm probably not going to stay on her too much longer because it is the Marty and Tavi show. So um yeah, so I haven't heard from her. Probably heard from her maybe about 4 o'clock. So hopefully whatever has her tied, she would probably be untied. Anyway, the subject, the title of the show is um, grant denials or intellectual property or stolen intellectual property. And many might say, well, what do you mean by stolen intellectual property? Well, there's many conditions to writing grant proposals that more than likely are not going to be funded, and there are all type of ideals being proposed all at the same time, which equates to intellectual property. If you see on the screen, I have philanthropists reconnecting to grassroots ideas, and that's a softer way of basically what's happening now, and that's really larger nonprofits get with grassroots nonprofits or just grassroots people that really don't understand all of the business and all of the semantics, but more so just want to see a need and doing their best to try to fill the need with rationale of helping humans they have. Well, oftentimes those nonprofits are befriended by these larger organizations who are the more favorable to receive certain monies to be able to aid and help the community. Well, overall, I'm trying to make sure I remember my thought of what I was going to say. So they get that money. So after working with a lot of the grassroots, kind of understanding the community a little bit better. People who were once outsiders, and I'm referring to a lot of the large nonprofits who get the money and then come to service the community. So those people that get the money and they come proposing proposals, exactly how I said it. So they would come proposing proposals and basically, how can I say, those grassroots organizations will, because they're hungry already, um, will seek glad, okay, $5,000, $10,000. And we're doing this off of our weekly paycheck. So that is very exciting to poor people, especially knowing that people need help and them wanting to help and them being able to get more help. So, again, going back to the topic on the screen, philanthropists reconnecting to grassroots ideals. Again, I look for the title, just try to see if any people have questioned their intellectual property once proposed to different organizations on potentially stealing the ideal or something like that. And we know that things, ideas get stolen every day. So that's not a new thing and that's not unique to nonprofits or anything like that. But the ideal here is to, first of all, understand all of the information. It's not just an ideal that they ask you for when you're doing these grant proposals. And that's why the title of the show is denied proposals or stolen intellectual property. More times, 9 times out of 10, matter of fact, more than 9.9% of the time, those proposals are being made by people who really need the money and really are doing the work and really want to see some changes within their community. And I'm talking about a lot of the grassroots people. And so, understanding that they need that money, large nonprofits, they staff all type of people in high wage positions, and then they kind of give little pieces of whatever money they bring in for the community to the community. But more than likely, the majority of a lot of the money that goes in to aid the community actually just creates salaries for people, very nice ones. Um, or they're doing the work. Of course, they're doing the work. They have the paperwork to show it. So I wouldn't ever say people are not doing the work. But let's get into a little bit of the grant proposals and basically what a few things that's required. The reason why I can safely say that intellectual property is stolen when these grants are denied, because people are putting their all in these proposals, and it's sad. So let me hold on, go to one of them. So one of the things that I wanted to speak on is one of the requirements for pretty much standard for pretty much any grant proposal is they ask for that person to state the problem. And the problem would be in more of an observation of what they have been pretty much living and breathing. Understand the issue, because majority of all the issues within vulnerable communities across America are pretty much the same, and it's just the same ripple effect. So the people that's living and breathing it, those lifelong members that started off in maybe a better community, and then the community started to decline as the years went by, those people already know the statement of the problem and more than likely know how to fix it, but lack the capital to do so. So now you're telling those people that, okay, we have money and we are willing to give some money, but we have some guidelines that we need you to first, look and see if you fit those guidelines, if what you need help for fit the guidelines. And then secondly, we're going to get as much information out of you as possible, starting with this statement of the problem. Okay. And so understanding the statement of the problem, understanding that those people have direct intellectual property from living and breathing. Nobody paid them at $100,000 a year to come and speak to a few people here and there and document some things. No one did that. But instead, they have been living and breathing, and now they're going to state the problem of what it is that they see. So that's just one piece of the intellectual property that has to be given to a lot of these denied proposals. And then most proposals would be standard in talking about specific target aims. And what this is basically who are you trying to reach? All right. And they want to know specific, because more than likely this grant probably had some kind of specifics as to who can apply and what people they were trying to reach. And so more than likely you would have to identify the same with whatever that money or funding was allocated and dedicated for. So you have to state the specific target aims. All right. That's what that is. Another one, because a lot of this is based on research. And again, most people who are living and breathing the problem don't need to research the problem because they're living it and they already know it. Now, can they evaluate and give an analysis of it in their own little way? All right. It may not be as formal, but it's clear. And the people who do know how to formalize the verbiage on it can do so easily with whatever evaluation and analysis of the situation that people been living and breathing would give. So yeah, they need to do some kind of evaluation and analysis of basically stating the reason that the problem is a problem, if the problem is really a problem, how did you find this out, that kind of thing. All right. Okay. So then after evaluation and analysis comes what in those grant proposals, they look for expected outcomes. So basically, they tell us what the problem is, tell us who you're trying to get to, tell us evaluation and analysis of how you came to this, I guess I can say, hypothesis, and how you plan on proving it, and what convinces us that um, it will and what will it do if all of this is true. So then that's when you come to expected outcomes. Understanding expected outcomes and understanding that those outcomes are how do you say, so if I do this, then this will happen. It's basically how I can put it in easy terms. So after giving all the information, again, all this intellectual property that only you know because you have lived and breathed the problem, not that you study it, not that you're interested, not that you're interested in doing some good. No, this is a problem and it's all around you, and you want help with it, and you want to help your community. This is what I'm talking about with these grassroots proposing all of their intellectual property to these places for approval of funding because they need it. So they give what they have, which is nothing but intellectual property, which is valuable because that intellectual property is capital. They pay great deals of money to do research to gather the intellectual property that many people who are applying for these grants that are living and breathing the problem of the community, and they really need the help, and so they give this information, and then they know how the expected outcome will come because they're making change on a smaller impact, right? And so let me get something to drink. So they're making change on a smaller impact, and then they just know that with more funding, then they could really make a big difference as far um, as funding goes. If they can get funded, then they know that they can do it. So if they're helping 5 people, if they get funding to help another 50 people, that's impact. But they already know how it's going to come out because they're already making that impact, and they already are getting those outcomes, just not in the numbers that's needed to really truly make a difference, if that makes sense. And then as if that's not enough, one of the last things that grant proposals ask you for is dissemination plan. So um, in layman's term, they want to know, well, how you plan on executing. So there are many people that have visions and want to do things based off their visions, and um, just lack organization skills and the skills to actually execute what it is that they want to do, know to do, but they have to know how to do it, if that makes sense. So then there's this dissemination plan. And so you'll have to then give them more intellectual property for dissemination. Okay. And they'll be like, well, okay, well, we're going to do this with this amount of men, and we're going to need this equipment, and we're going to need this, that. So you're going to have to kind of lay it down. You're going to have to create a budget, and you're going to have to basically give them all of your information as if you were planning for yourself, because you are planning for yourself, but you're partnering with these places, these grant proposals for their funding, for their capital, because you have no working capital. Obviously, you have human capital, and that's what you're giving away is all of that intellectual property. So I hope you guys understand. I know I did see a couple people update their status to be able to start a conversation with their friends and say, or grant proposals, stolen intellectual property. It's a no-brainer. I say they are. Anyway, Marty hasn't shown up. She hasn't replied, guys. And I'm actually tired. Have some things that I need to do anyway. This is going to be a cute little 15, 16-minute video. I'm going to try to stay true to showing up here for you guys. Again, I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. This is Tavi. I thank you for tuning in. And thank you for watching the Marty and Tavi show. You have a great night.